I never thought silence could feel this heavy. The house, once full of my father's voice, his routines, even his quiet humming when he read the paper, now seemed too big for either of us. The air carried that stale weight of grief, like dust settling in corners no one dared to touch. I had come back after the funeral, not planning to stay long. Just a week, maybe less. But the longer I lingered, the more impossible it felt to leave her here alone. Her name was Anna. To everyone else, she was my father's wife. To me, she was a presence I never fully understood. Always graceful, always careful with words. Even now, at 45, there was something magnetic about the way she carried herself, like a secret she'd never tell. That evening, I found her in the kitchen, standing at the counter with her back to me. She wasn't cooking. Just standing there, holding a glass of water she hadn't touched. Her shoulders were tense, her blouse slightly creased as though she'd been leaning against the counter too long. I cleared my throat. "Do you want me to fix something for dinner?" She turned slowly, her expression soft but unreadable. "You don't have to take care of me, you know. I'm not. I don't mind," I said, more defensive than I meant to sound. Her eyes lingered on mine a second too long before she gave a small smile. "You sound just like him." That landed heavier than I expected. I didn't know whether to take it as comfort or a wound. I shifted, looking at the floor, pretending to notice the cracks in the tile. We didn't talk much over dinner. I made pasta that tasted bland, and she ate quietly, pushing noodles around her plate more than eating them. Every so often, I caught her staring out the window, her mind somewhere else. Afterward, I started to clear the dishes, but she stopped me with a hand on my wrist. Just a light touch, but enough to make me freeze. "I'll do it," she said. Her voice had that softness again, but her hand lingered half a second too long before letting go. It shouldn't have meant anything. But in the silence of that house, with the lights dim and no other sound but the drip of the faucet, it meant everything. Later, I found myself in the living room, staring at the photographs that lined the shelves. My father in his younger days. Him and Anna together. Him and me. All the years, frozen in frames, staring back at me like questions I couldn't answer. She walked in quietly, barefoot, holding a cup of tea. She didn't say anything, just stood beside me, close enough that I could smell the faint trace of her perfume. Something floral, but faded, like it had been on her skin all day. "He loved this house," she whispered, almost to herself. I nodded, my throat dry. Her hand brushed against mine, not deliberate, maybe accidental. But neither of us moved it away. When I finally glanced at her, she was already looking at me. The kind of look that holds too long, that says something neither of us dared to put into words. And just as I opened my mouth to say something, anything, the sharp chime of the doorbell cut through the silence. We both froze. The doorbell had been nothing, just a delivery mix-up. But it left the air between us tighter, as though the sound had cut through something fragile and left the pieces trembling. The days that followed blurred between quiet routine and restless moments I couldn't name. Every time we crossed paths in the hallway, every glance over the breakfast table, carried a weight neither of us spoke aloud. One night, I found her in the den, curled on the couch with a book open in her lap but unread. The lamp cast her face in soft gold. Her hair was loose, framing her in a way that made her look younger and older all at once. I hovered in the doorway. "Couldn't sleep?" Her lips parted, but no answer came right away. Finally she said, "The house is too quiet. It feels wrong." I stepped inside before I could stop myself. "You're not the only one who feels that way." She looked at me then, really looked. And for a second, I swore we might break whatever wall we'd been building. But the sharp sound of a phone buzzing shattered the moment. She flinched, grabbed it off the table. The name flashing across the screen made her jaw tighten. It was her sister. She silenced the call, placing the phone face down, She checks on me too much, she said quickly, as if to erase what I'd seen. Still, I caught the flicker in her eyes, guilt, unease, like she was already hiding something. I sat down on the far end of the couch. Not close, but not far enough to make sense either. The silence stretched heavy. Sometimes I wonder, she said suddenly, if people would think less of me for leaning on you. For letting you stay. I swallowed hard. Do you care what they think? Her laugh was small, bitter. Of course I do. Then softer. But not enough, apparently. The air between us pulled tighter. My hand twitched against my knee, wanting to move closer. Instead, I gripped the fabric of my jeans. Her eyes flicked down, caught the motion. She shifted, her bare foot brushing lightly against my ankle. Accidental? Maybe. But she didn't move it away. We both leaned, imperceptibly, as if gravity itself was dragging us forward. My chest ached with the closeness. Her breath touched mine. Then she pulled back, sharp, like the moment had burned her. This isn't right, she whispered. Her hands trembled as she pressed them into her lap. I froze, words tangling in my throat. Before I could untangle them, there was another sound, a knock this time. Firm. Jarring. We both looked up. She stood quickly, smoothing her blouse, forcing composure. Stay here, she murmured, already halfway to the door. Through the glass, I caught the silhouette of a man. A neighbor, maybe? Or worse, someone who knew us both too well. The pulse in my ears drowned everything else. The man at the door had been nothing more than a neighbor offering condolences. He stayed only a few minutes, polite and harmless, but the moment he left, the air between us shifted again. I caught it in the way Anna closed the door, slow, deliberate, as if locking more than just the house. She leaned against it for a second longer than necessary, her shoulders drawn, her breathing uneven. You didn't tell him I was here, I said quietly. Her head snapped toward me. Why would I? The words came too fast, too sharp. Then she softened. I don't want anyone talking. I shouldn't have cared. But I did. The thought of her keeping me a secret, like I was something shameful, sent a heat through me that wasn't just anger. So I'm a problem to hide? My voice cracked against the calm of the room. Her eyes flinched, just for a heartbeat. Don't do that. Do what? Make me say things I can't take back. Her voice was low, nearly breaking. I stepped closer without meaning to. Then maybe I'll say it first. She froze, her body tense, as if bracing for a blow. But I wasn't angry, not really. What tore through me was sharper, deeper. I can't stop thinking about you, I said. The words came out raw, unpolished, half-broken. Every time I walk into a room, I look for you. Every time you touch me, even by accident, I can't shake it. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She backed up a step, bumping into the edge of the console table. The lamp rattled. She didn't move it. You can't say that, she whispered, shaking her head. You can't. But it's true. She pressed her hands flat against the table behind her, as if she needed the furniture to keep her upright. You're too young. You're grieving. You don't even know what you want. I moved closer, until the space between us was nothing but breath. I know exactly what I want. Her eyes shone with something she was trying desperately to hold back, fear, guilt, and desire, all tangled. Do you think I don't feel it too? She said suddenly, her voice breaking like glass. Every time you look at me, She cut herself off, biting down hard on her lip. The words hung there, unfinished, but heavier than anything she could have confessed outright. I lifted a hand before I could think better of it, brushing my fingers lightly against her cheek. She didn't pull away. Her skin was warm, trembling under my touch. For one impossible second, the world shrank to just that, her breath, my hand, the space between our lips. And then, a sharp knock rattled the door again. We both froze, our closeness caught in the middle of being everything and nothing. The knock on the door wasn't a neighbor this time. It was worse. "Anna?" A woman's voice carried through the wood. Familiar, clipped, too loud for the quiet night. Anna's eyes widened, her whole body going rigid. She whispered, "It's my sister." Panic flickered in my chest. If her sister saw me here, late, close, lingering, it wouldn't just be awkward. It would be impossible to explain. She pulled herself together fast, smoothing her hair, fixing her blouse, wiping any trace of me from her face. Then she opened the door with a forced smile. "Claire," she said, her tone warm but strained. Her sister swept in without waiting to be invited. "I was driving by. I couldn't sleep knowing you were alone." Her eyes scanned the room too quickly, too sharply. "Oh, he's here?" I stood frozen by the couch, caught like I'd been rehearsing guilt. "Just for a few days," Anna said quickly. "He's been helping." Claire's gaze lingered on me a beat too long, suspicion flickering, before she turned back to Anna. "That's good. You shouldn't be by yourself." The conversation stumbled on. Small talk about casseroles neighbors had dropped off, bills to sort, arrangements still unfinished. But the tension under it was unbearable. Every second, I felt Claire's eyes shift back to me, as if she could see what neither of us had said aloud. When she finally left, Anna closed the door and leaned against it, her hands shaking. "She suspects?" I whispered. Anna turned on me sharp. "She can't. Because there's nothing to suspect." The words stung more than I expected. "Nothing?" Her breath hitched. She pressed her palms to her temples, as if she could squeeze the thought away. "You don't understand. If she even thought there was something between us, then maybe she's right." I cut in. Her eyes snapped to mine, wide, furious, and terrified. Don't you dare." But the silence that followed said what she wouldn't. Her sister's visit had made it real. What we had been circling, pretending not to see, was suddenly too visible, too fragile. I stepped closer, my voice low, almost pleading. "You can lie to her. But don't lie to me." Her jaw trembled, her arms crossed tight across her chest. "You think this is simple? That we can just, what? Pretend none of it matters? I think it matters too much to pretend." Her silence stretched, heavy, and for a moment I thought she might break. But then she turned away, her voice barely audible. "Maybe you should leave tomorrow." The words gutted me. Not loud, not cruel, but final in a way I wasn't ready for. I stood there, staring at the back of her head, every muscle in me screaming to fight it, to close the space between us, to say what couldn't be unsaid. But I didn't. Not yet. The next morning I packed a bag. Not because I wanted to leave, but because she had asked me to. The zipper rasped too loud in the quiet of my room. Every sound felt final. My chest was tight, heavy, like I'd swallowed a stone. I told myself it would be easier this way. That I was sparing her, sparing us. But when I carried the bag into the hallway, she was already waiting at the bottom of the stairs, and my resolve crumbled. She stood with her arms folded, her face calm but too still, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. "You don't have to," I said softly. Her eyes flickered up to mine. "Yes, I do." I set the bag down, hard, the thud echoing against the walls. "Do you mean that? Or are you just scared?" Her breath caught, a sharp sound. "Don't." "No," I pressed, stepping closer. "Because if this, whatever this is, means nothing, tell me now and I'll walk out that door." Her silence was louder than anything I'd ever heard. Her lips parted, but nothing came. I could see her fighting herself, weighing every consequence, every risk. Finally, she whispered, "It means too much. That's the problem." Something in me broke open. I crossed the distance between us before she could stop me. My hands found her arms, gentle but firm, grounding us both. Then stop pushing me away, I said. Stop pretending it's wrong to feel what we feel. Her eyes brimmed with tears she refused to let fall. She shook her head, trembling. If I let myself, if I let you, she choked on the words, breathless. I'll lose control. And once I do, I can't take it back. Then don't take it back. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. I don't want safe. I don't want distance. I want you. The words hung there, trembling between us, and for a moment neither of us moved. Then, slowly, she lifted a hand to my face. Her fingers brushed my cheek, tentative at first, then steady. It wasn't a kiss, not yet, but it was more than silence, more than denial. I hate that you make me feel alive again, she whispered. And I hate that I love it. I closed my eyes, leaning into her touch. Then don't hate it. Just let it be. We stayed there, inches apart, hearts hammering in unison, the world narrowing to nothing but breath and skin and words that couldn't be unsaid. And then, she stepped back. Just one step, but it felt like a chasm. Her voice was steadier now, though her hands still shook. I don't know what happens next. But at least we're not lying anymore. The bag still sat at my feet. The door was still waiting. But for the first time, I didn't feel like I was already gone. The house was still. Afternoon light streamed through the windows, spilling across the floorboards in pale gold. My bag was still by the door, untouched, as though even the thought of leaving had become meaningless. I found Anna in the kitchen, her back to me again, just like that first night. She was washing a single glass, slowly, as if it mattered more than anything else. For a long moment I just stood there, watching her shoulders rise and fall with each breath. She looked smaller than I remembered, fragile in a way she never let anyone see. You were supposed to be gone by now, she said without turning. I know. My voice was steady this time. But I couldn't. She set the glass down with a soft clink, water dripping from her fingers. Finally she turned. Her eyes met mine, tired but unguarded. You make everything harder, she whispered. Then let me make it worth it, I said. No more hiding. No more pretending. Just us. Her lip trembled, but she didn't look away. People will talk. Let them. I stepped closer. We've been through worse than their voices. For a second, it felt like we were back at the edge again, about to pull apart. But this time, she didn't move away. She stayed. Her hand found mine across the counter, hesitant at first, then tighter, as if she was holding on for dear life. Do you realize what you're asking me to risk? Yes, I said. And I'll carry it with you. All of it. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was full, alive, brimming with something neither of us had the strength to deny. And then she let out a shaky breath, almost a laugh, almost a sob. God help me, I can't fight you anymore. This time, when I leaned in, she didn't stop me. Her lips met mine, soft, trembling, but real. Years of restraint, fear, and grief dissolved in that single moment. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't neat. But it was ours. When we finally pulled back, she rested her forehead against mine, eyes closed. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. Then we'll start with today, I whispered. The house no longer felt too big. It felt like it belonged to us now, filled with something fragile but undeniable. Love born out of loss, yes, but love all the same. And for the first time since my father's passing, the silence didn't feel like grief. It felt like possibility. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?